operations, as well as to accommodate larger modern vehicle size. A new trolley facility at this site has been recommended in the adopted City of Philadelphia Lower Southwest District Plan, which has had extensive public outreach and input. At this time, in coordination with the Federal Transit Administration requirements, as well as with FTA's NEPA approval, this parcel is being acquired protectively to prevent imminent development, which would preclude SEPTA from using it in the future for the trolley modernization program. A SEPTA commissioned independent appraisal determined that the current fair market value of the parcel as of February 26, 2020 is $5,725,000. SEPTA's acquisition of the parcel is conditioned upon SEPTA's completion of all necessary surface, environmental, and geotechnical investigation and obtaining any other consents to or assignments of rights in connection with the parcel. On July 27, 2020, an offer of just compensation in the amount of $5,725,000 was forwarded to Property Exchange Agent LLC, which was declined. All subsequent negotiations between the parties to reach an amicable agreement have been unsuccessful. In the event SEPTA is required to acquire the parcel by means of eminent domain, SEPTA will retain the statutory right of revocation prior to the payment of just compensation to Property Exchange Agent LLC. Staff requests that the board authorize SEPTA to acquire the parcel from Property Exchange Agent LLC by purchase or, if necessary, by condemnation for an estimated just compensation of $5,725,000 under such terms and conditions as set forth in the staff summary.
Thank you, Leo. Any questions for Leo?
This is Mike Carroll, City of Philadelphia. Not so much a question. I just want to make a couple quick comments. I just think it should be clear to everybody the City of Philadelphia is fully in support of this measure. We view this facility as a linchpin in making sure that SEPTA's efforts to modernize its trolley vehicles, the trolley system overall, are successful. And that in itself is a key component of about 10 years of transportation planning in the City of Philadelphia. So we are fully in support, and we're just hopeful we can do anything we are able to do to make sure that this is a successful site acquisition and that facility gets built.
Thanks, Mike. Any questions or comments beyond Mike's? Okay. Andy, I think it's your turn.
Okay, good afternoon. This next item is due to an award. Thank you. This next item is due to an award to other than low bidder for LED lighting fixtures for replacement lighting at regional rail yards. These new lights will be dimmable and can be remotely operated. Of the 7 bids received, the low bidder was found not to meet the specification, and therefore its bid was disqualified. Globe Electric Supply Company, Inc., the second lowest bidder, was found compliant with the specifications for a bid amount not to exceed $110,052. Globe's bid is approximately 8% lower than SEPTA's independent cost estimate, and therefore is determined to be fair and reasonable and recommended for a contract award. Globe had previously provided similar materials in the past and performed satisfactorily.
Any questions for Andy on that? Continue.
Next item is for award of a sole source contract to Conduit, Inc. for additional fair equipment, gating, and turnstile as part of the 3rd Street Market Frankfurt Line Station Modernization Project. This additional equipment will provide for optimum fare line efficiencies and enhanced passenger flow at this station. Conduit, Inc., formerly Xerox Transport Solution, Inc., is the only qualified and approved SEPTA vendor for integrating this equipment and ensures its compatibility with SEPTA key program. Conduit's proposed cost of $65,000 is approximately 8% higher than SEPTA's estimate, and therefore is deemed fair and reasonable.
Any questions for Andy on that? All right, Andy.
Next item is for award of a sole source contract to AT&T Mobility 2 LLC, doing business as AT&T Mobility National Accounts LLC for a 3-year cellular unlimited data plan for 450 Apple iPad devices. The cellular services is needed for management and field staff utilizing iPads for virtual private network, VPN, access to applications, card, and other real-time services available over the internet to perform operations for the organization. The current Apple iPod devices use the GSM global system for mobiles chipsets that are only compatible with the AT&T network. Other carriers use the CDMA, which stands for Code Division Multiple Access chipsets, and therefore are not compatible. AT&T's cost proposal of $36.99 per month per device for a total contract amount of $599,238 is approximately 7.5% lower than SEPTA's independent cost estimate, and therefore is determined to be fair and reasonable.
Hey,
Any
Andy,
questions
it's
for
Kevin.
Andy?
Yeah, Andy, it's Kevin. I have a question. How much have we been paying under our current contract?
So our current monthly payment is about $39, so we're actually getting a savings in this contract going forward, Kevin.
Okay, yeah, I know I have an unlimited plan through AT&T for the, for the iPad, and I think I'm only paying $35 a month, so I was wondering. Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, Andy, continue.
Next item is another sole source contract award to S4 Worldwide LLC for maintenance and support services for the 3 Century Surveillance mobile equipment for a 1-year term. This equipment, which was purchased in 2013, are self-contained solar-powered trailer mount type units, and they are utilized by SEPTA Transit Police for field surveillance during special events to combat crime and to promote a safe work and travel environment. The Century Surveillance systems are custom-built for SEPTA by S4 Worldwide LLC, and they have the proprietary rights to the software, licensing, maintenance, and support. S4 Worldwide LLC's cost proposal of $84,975 for the 3 trailer units has remained the same as for the past 3 years, and therefore is deemed fair and reasonable and recommended for award.
Any questions for Andy on that? Continue, Andy.
Next item is for contract change order number 5 with AP Construction Company, Inc. for the 5th and Market Street Enhancement Project for an increase in contract price of $645,001. Changed work items include the removal of additional concrete cover over waterproofing areas, the removal of encountered abandoned utilities, repair of light vault, structural repair of lattice strut beams throughout the station, and additional booth and fair equipment work due to fair line revisions. Negotiated and agreed upon cost is compatible to staff's estimate and therefore is deemed fair and reasonable. It is also requested that the resetting of delegation to $0 with a new cumulative threshold of 10% or $500,000.
Andy, do we keep track of the professionals that commit the design errors and take that into account when we reconsider their contracts or awards?
We do, Mr. Leonard. As a matter of fact, on the staff summary, toward the end of the staff summary, we normally would have, right in the middle of the 3rd page, we do mention that the design consultant would be put on notice for these design errors, and we would pursue compensation once they exceed a certain error percentage, which I believe we've been looking at 1.5 or 2%. 2%.
Okay. All right. Any other questions for Andy? Continue.
Okay. Next item is for approval of a contract change order number 1 with SDS Pro Inc. for the professional safety data sheet and hazardous information material management software services in the increased amount of $30,400. Additional work include the additional labor costs due to the increased count of unknown products authority-wide and SDS's Pro's effort to physically inspect and incorporate this data into the system. SDS Pro's change order cost is compatible to staff independent estimate and therefore they are deemed fair and reasonable.
Any questions for Andy on that? Continue, Andy.
Hi, it's Mike Carroll. You say it's compatible with the staff estimate. Could you elaborate?
Yes, Mr. Carroll. So basically, the staff would perform an independent cost estimate for the level of effort that it would
Yeah.
need the vendor, the contractor, to perform the additional work. And then when they submit their proposal, they make the comparison and ensure that the level of effort at the hourly
Yeah.
rates would be compatible.
I get that. I guess I'm so used to hearing a percentage deviation. You're just saying on a item and time basis it's compatible.
Yeah, so usually you would see the percentages, Mr. Carroll, on the awards and the sole sources. And that's a one item, that's being awarded or discussed. However, in the change orders, you have multiple
Yeah.
PCOs. So that's why we just use the term that it is compatible. But within the change order, each PCO is broken down, and each one of them would have its own proposal as well as the staff's independent estimate.
Okay. All right.
Okay. If there are no other questions, Andy, you can continue.
Next and last items for the approval of contract amendment number 12 with ACOM, formerly URS, for an increase in contract cost in the amount of $349,870 for additional architectural and engineering, design, and construction-related services on the Elwyn 2-hour restoration of service project. Work included in this amendment include changes in tie-ins to the existing Route 1 drainage system, revisions to cut slope number 4, design revisions due to additional review comments from Middletown Township permitting reviews, and changes in the PADEP requirements for levels of vanadium in the clean fill. Agreed to cost for the additional work is compatible to staff's independent estimate and therefore is deemed fair and reasonable.
Okay, any questions for Andy on this, our last one? Okay, thank you, Andy.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you to Leo. I think that concludes the Operations Committee meeting. No, I'm sorry, Carol, there are speakers, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. The first speaker is Alan Smith.
Mr. Smith, are you there?
He's not in attendance. The next speaker is Alberta Shepherd.
Alberta, you're up. Are you
She-
there?
I'm being told she dropped off. The last speaker is Anthony Williams.
Mr. Williams, are you there?
Yes.
Welcome to our meeting. The floor is yours.
I have no comments at this time.
Okay. Well then, Carol, if there are no more speakers, I think that concludes the Operations Committee meeting.
Correct.
Okay, thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.